What will he do this time? 1d4 did work for him, but this time he goes knight to f3. Wow. This is the move that Gukesh grew up on. He used to play it as a little kid. Knight f3, g3, the Reti system. And he has great affinity to it. He plays the same opening. Gukesh wants to feel at home. Maybe at this point in the World Championship match, g6 by Ding, a very solid weapon against the Reti where you want to fianchetto your bishop. d4 by Gukesh, symmetrical on the board. Bishop goes to g7, and this will most likely lead to a very solid position. This c6 line, which is very well known, and Ding goes for it. At the top level, this is considered to be one of the solid weapons against d4. We call it the Grunfeld Slav or so on. Knight comes out because you have the Grunfeld like setup here and also the Slav setup here. White castles and black also castles. This position has been reached before by Gukesh. He has played b3 before, knight d2 before. What is he intending here? Rook e1. An amazing move here by Gukesh. It's been played only 31 times before, and that too very few strong players have played. In fact, no grandmasters have played it in classical chess. Out of the 18,000 times this position is reached, it has been played only 30 times. And look at this. Ding snatches the pawn and Gukesh captures the center. Has sharpened up like anything. Bishop g4. Fantastic move. Liren's time 122. Gukesh's time 158. Gukesh supremely well prepared. Knight d2 played. And now you want to cling on to your pawn. Maybe play b5 here. But Ding goes c5. And this is already a step in the wrong direction. Because now Gukesh can play d5. Excellent move. He pushes his pawn forward. e6 played here by Ding. And now white has two strong moves. One of them is knight takes c4. The other is pawn takes h3. He does play h3 first. And the problem here for black is that pawn in the center will be slightly weak for white. But if black is not able to capture it, it will become a strength. And at the same time, white will have this amazing bishop. So bishop takes f3. And now takes. Gukesh takes back. And the problem for Ding is that if he takes here, then knight takes c4. And this knight cannot be defended. And the b7 pawn falls. So he very correctly develops the knight to d7. And now knight takes c4 happens. Instantly b5 played by Ding. Gukesh currently has a 40-minute lead on the clock. He comes back, knight a3, fantastic move, gaining an important tempo on the pawn. If you try to defend it with a6, I have d6 hitting the rook here. So queen b6, excellent move by Ding. He's playing some good chess after that small opening inaccuracy. Bishop f4 by Gukesh. Now rook d8. He goes rook e8 first. And Gukesh goes queen d2. Now an important line is take. If you go rook e8, I'll take here. Knight takes queen e2 with a double attack here and b5. So that is not really a great idea. He brings his rook into the center of the board. And fantastic move here by Gukesh. He has 1 hour 18 minutes. Ding has 41 minutes on the clock. Knight f8 played. Maybe Ding wants to come into e6. Attacking the bishop, making use of this pin. But b4. What a move here by Gukesh. If you take, I want to take with the knight and jump into c6. There are some tactics with knight e4, but Ding goes against it. He plays c4 and says, I have a protected pawn now. Bishop e3 played here by Gukesh. And now queen goes to a6. Important moment in the game, bishop d4. Love this move because it starts putting pressure on this diagonal. And also this pawn is impossible to take just yet. So rook takes rook. And you can take back with the queen. But the best move is to take with the rook. But he has given up the a2 pawn. Does that work? Ding takes it. And Gukesh now has an advantage. He finds the best move, rook a1. He can actually win this pawn. Queen b3, but he has to remain careful. If he goes and tries to snatch the pawn here, this bishop is hanging. So first rook a3, attacking the queen, defending the bishop. Check in, king is attacked. And even though Ding is a pawn up right now, his position is in trouble. Rook d7 played, but the best move is rook a5. Not at all easy to find, and he finds it. But he has invested nearly 18 minutes for this move. Queen b3, he comes back, and this time taking the pawn makes all the sense because your bishop is protected. But Gukesh comes back. He does not take it. Queen b1. Ding is like, do you want to draw, Gukesh? I'm happy with the draw. He goes back, rook a5. I'm sure Gukesh doesn't want to draw here. Queen b3. He comes in, and this time Gukesh's clock shows 16 minutes on the... He's actually used up 24 minutes for this decision. He takes the pawn. And now queen d3. Fantastic move. The best move here is bishop e3 coming back, and white is totally better, but he goes queen f4. So Ding takes it. After 7 minutes of thought, he takes the knight on c2. Gukesh takes the knight on f6. Queen f5 played, offering a queen trade. And maybe once again, you don't want to take the queen, because after taking the queen, he's done it. This g pawn moves, and suddenly the knight can come into the game this way. Gukesh exchanges the bishop. He had a choice to keep the bishop with bishop g5, but he trades it. And black structure is a wreck, is a complete mess right now. Also, the knight is not active, and Gukesh goes after this pawn. Immediately, Ding responds with knight g6. He takes rook takes c4, knight jumps into e5, attacking the rook and the bishop. Very important now is to go rook c5, because if you rook d4, if you go rook c5, knight d3 check, threatening knight e1. So rook d4 played. And now knight goes back to c6, attacking the rook. If you take, the rook is hanging. Goes rook f4, attacking the pawn. A knight goes back to e7, defending it, also attacking here. And b5 played here by Gukesh. The king comes up, and Ding seems to be much more in control here. He's a pawn down, but his king is coming in. His knight can maneuver to be perched on d6. Rook d4 played. Very important moment. You can't come up. Rook h4 and you lose this pawn. That's the reason why Ding plays h6. 39th move. Final move. Gukesh thinks and plays king f1. So he gets the 30 extra minutes, and now Ding goes wrong on the 40th move. The best move was knight c8, but instead he goes king e5, attacking the rook. And now rook h4, attacking the pawn. Yes, and if you defend it, I switch the rook here. If you again defend it, I come here and attack this. This is just amazing position for white. Ding takes the pawn in the center. Gukesh completely winning after rook takes h6. He's totally better. He has the bishop against the knight, an extra pawn and an outside passer. Knight goes to c3, attacking the pawn. Now you can defend with bishop c6, but then the rook enters. Instead go rook c6, because if you take the pawn, rook c5 check. He plays it. He finds it. What a play by Gukesh here. He's playing amazing chess, and this is totally better for him. Knight e4 played, and now the best move here is to take, give a check, play g4, don't let f5 come, and then you have the outside passer. Get rid of that knight, but he plays king e1. Not the best move here by Gukesh. This will give some chances to Ding. Ding, after a long thing, comes down to 5 minutes on the clock, plays f6, which is a good move. He is now coming in with the idea of f4 somewhere. h4 played. This is not a great idea. He could have gone rook c8 against f4. But this rook d3, what a move here. Fantastic move. Rook d3 attacking the bishop. The bishop comes back to d1. Oh, he places his bishop back. Gukesh is confused here. He comes back, bishop d1. He's not very sure about this move. Down to 12 minutes on the clock. The better move here was king e2, trying to keep up that position. But bd1, and now f4 incoming. If Ding can find it, he has 5 minutes on the clock. Ding thinks, because all other moves are losing. He finds f4. What a move. And the point being, if you go g4, I have rook h3 followed by f3 with a great attack. So Gukesh takes it. But now look at the coordination of the rook knight. Just out of nowhere, Liren is back in the game. And point f3, he has knight d6 at the very least. So Gukesh goes bishop c2, rook goes to d5. The rook is attacking the pawn. And he plays rook c4. f5 instantly played here. And he defends it with rook to b4. King f3 coming in. Now f2 pawn under some pressure. He comes and gives a check. If you go back, f3 wins the day because the knight is pinned. So he comes up further ahead. There's still a lot of intrigue in the game. White does have the passer. He goes rook to b3, cutting the king off. Knight takes f2, does not work because of check and you lose the rook. So he plays rook e5, another fine move here by Ding. f4 played, the king is kind of trapped here. You see the white king does not have too many spaces to go to. He goes back rook e7 and now the rook can block in with rook e3. Yes, he finds it. Gukesh fighting hard, but look at the time. He's down to 43 seconds. Ding has defended like an absolute monster here, giving Gukesh no chances. h5 once he made that error, and now knight jumps back attacking the pawn. You can't keep that pawn anymore. And so rook e5 played, attacking the pawn on f5. He jumps, takes, rook takes f5, and knight has to come in. Otherwise, white is totally winning here. And knight g3, great move, so that bishop e2 is no longer possible here. You first attack the rook, and if the rook moves, you have rook f7 attacking here. So he goes rook f8, trying to keep his f pawn. And here, rook b7, what a move. And you can see the knight doing its job, not letting the bishop come here and defend. Yes, Gukesh can defend it with bishop a4 like he's done now, but that is a passive move. The bishop is not at all active. King f3, Ding comes back, he pushes the pawn. Gukesh has 1 minute on the clock, Ding has 3 minutes. But the problem now is the black king, knight and the rook will defend this amazingly well. 60 moves have been completed. Both the arbiters come with the new score sheets for the players to continue writing. f6 played, and now the knight comes to e4 attacking the pawn. If you play f7, I go knight d6. He goes bishop c2 attacking the pawn. Knight d6 played, now attacking b5. If f7, you can just snatch it off with the rook. He goes rook d8, and the king comes back just in time. What a defense. What a defense. I must say this has been a world champion's defense here by Liren. Knight goes back to f7. If you take here, I take back with the rook, and then the pawn on f6 falls. He goes for a check, and Liren takes the pawn. King goes to d2. Gukesh knows that it is done. He no longer has the advantage. Rook goes to b6. Amazing chess here. At move number 40, it was kind of certain that Gukesh would win it. But this game just shows that Liren is not an easy opponent here, who can be vanquished just like that. He's here for the fight. He'll fight till the end. King goes to b4, and now the knight chops off the pawn. That is a draw. King takes b5, and a6 played. They play until the end. King takes a6. The bishop is insufficient material. Players shake hands. We are still at 3.5 after 7 games of chess.